I get your emotions. Sunshine, it was a horrible day again for Man United fans. A lot of people turning on him. I've said I've lost my trust. Staffy wants him out. Where are you with this now? I know you know that it won't improve us in the long term because of deeper problems at the club, but
Correct.
he's making horrendous decisions, all sorts of craziness going on. Give us your thoughts, Sunshine.
Yeah, I mean, today was probably the first time I've actually sat there and gone, I got no clue what you're doing, broski. I cannot defend certain things. The first half, I mean, again, I always give a manager the word, literally, like I said before, I let a manager and any manager judge him by their standards. So if you're going to come out and tell me tactical is your reasoning, I've got no issue with that, because I look at the first half and go, okay, well, if it's tactical, it has to work because you're under pressure. Did it work? In my honest opinion, up until a controversial decision, yes, it did. So I can't sit here and go fully in just because we didn't get the result that we all know we didn't want to get. I even said to Hamza the other day, I didn't think we'd win. So I'm not on that emotional train, I'll be honest. And if I'm being very, very fair and balanced, though it's difficult to probably hear these words from a United fan because everyone's feeling the type of way it's a derby. Yeah, I clocked out a long time ago. So for me personally, I don't believe that first half was an issue. I actually think we could have gone 2-1, 3-1 up, maybe 3-2. And I say that in the first 10 minutes when Bruno pressed and we won the ball back high, we had I think it was a 4-on-3 chance a couple of times. If we were more clinical in those first areas, similar to the Tottenham game, where against Tottenham, we won the ball back quite high. We did pretty well in terms of nullifying Tottenham. If you go 2 goals up or make it 2-2, 2-1, that's where your confidence comes from. And my issue with this team, Terry, especially for that first half, is that when you don't put the ball in the back of the flipping net, you start to lose the confidence. We're already low on confidence. If you go and bag goals, you then ultimately get a nice little boost going into the second half. We're not helping ourselves by doing that. So that first half for me, I didn't have an issue with Ten Hag. However, that second half was absolutely disgusting. From the moment that second goal goes in, I'm sorry, you revert back to whatever you're trying to do and you go and try and throw the kitchen sink at it. You don't keep Lindelof on at left back for a whole 70-plus Ross Clark minutes. You just don't do that. There's no defending that. You have a left back in Reguilon who's come back. He's already played minutes prior to him coming back. You stick him on. You got to play the guy. You have to play the guy. Amrabat, he takes Amrabat off. Is it for the yellow card? Yes, but really and truly, I'd rather see Amrabat play for the whole 90 minutes and potentially get a red as opposed to taking him off because you've got no other sixes and put McTominay there. That makes no sense to me. Rashford, once again, ghosting. Bruno, shocking. After that first 20 minutes where he's pressing, putting the work rates, winning the ball back, and we're doing all the things that Ten Hag system is employed to do, which is to win the ball high up the pitch and then have fast transition into the final third and create opportunities, which we keep doing every single game, but it only happens for the first 20 minutes. But then, like you said, Terry, we mentally can't maintain that because if we don't take those chances, we then take the foot off the gas, we then start overcomplicating things. How many times today did we see second half? Could have put the ball in the box and you're there passing it around. And then Bruno has to swing the foot at it and makes a horrible cross. We're building ourselves up to have this mentality in second half games. And this is why I say some of the performances, right, don't overshadow the result. The results are overshadowing some of the performances. I genuinely believe I can see what Ten Hag's trying to do. Most of us see it for 10, 20 minutes. But like you said, the mentality is not there. And if you don't capitalize in those first 20 minutes when you're making these chances, like we did against Arsenal, like we did against Spurs, like we did today against City in the first 10, 15 when they were looking shaky, if you don't capitalize, you set yourself up for failure. And that's where I look at these players. But today, Ten Hag did not help himself whatsoever. So respectfully, again, no matter if you sack Ten Hag tomorrow, that's cool. But the next manager, I will say the same thing. I need a manager who needs 3-4 seasons. And I wish we had Arsenal fans right now because Man United fans are experiencing exactly what Arsenal fans were saying about Arteta. And the only difference about Arteta, respectfully, is that when there was a board change with Edu and they started to move in the right direction for their club, they got rid of Aubameyang, they took loss on their assets. They started to actually put things in place. And then they used the wealth of that to go and get their main target in Declan Rice. We should have been getting Harry Kane. Made no sense. And the last thing I will finish on, Terry, is Onana. Today, his kicking wasn't 100%, but the biggest part of him was keeping the ball out of the back of the net. He was absolutely incredible. That's all I asked for a man. If you're going to replace De Gea, replace him with the pros that he came with. He did that today. Yes, we conceded 3. But really and truly, do we really need? If we can't have the profiles to enable Onana's ability to play the system, and he only makes maybe 2, 3, 4 passes and 8, although it's 50%, but we can't retain the ball. What was the point in changing the keeper in the first place? If you're just going to have a keeper to keep the ball at the net, you've just wasted 46 million. That's not Onana's fault. That's the manager's fault. Because really and truly, there were other areas where we needed boosting. That was obvious. So now, if he goes and brings 10 on, but I don't want De Gea back. It makes no sense because that means you would have wasted 46 million. Think about it. It makes no sense.
That I totally agree. And look, I get that what some United fans at back Ten Hag are saying. Arteta, it took him time. I'm at a point, and as we learn and as we watch, we evolve, we educate ourselves. I look at the Arteta thing and I think to myself, he is an anomaly. He's not the rule. I think he's going to listen, and he still hasn't won anything outside the FA Cup year 1. So but he might build a good foundation for somebody else. But we can clearly see systematic change has taken place at the football club. The problem that we've got, and I'm actually at this point with Man United, and some United fans will say I'm lowering standards here. I'm not. I'm living in reality. I'm at a point where I can't build myself up and expect this club to win major trophies with how we're run. Yes, people will say, but you spend enough to. Yeah, we do. And that's one of the irony is it's one of the biggest reasons I'm angry that we spent 400 odd million pound on this manager and we're going backwards. We spend it poorly. The managers that come in are not right for one reason or another. They end up not being right. I'm just at a stage now where I'm almost like, I want us to get back to that stage, but don't believe it can happen with this ownership. So let's just bring a manager in and instruct him to play some nice, entertaining football. At the very least, we should be given that. And although people say that's lower, it's not lowering standards. I demand more, but we can only get more if the clubs run better. And maybe with Sir Jim coming in, maybe the change will be implemented for us to be able to do both things, where we can play nice football and progress back to winning things. But I'm just at a stage where I think to myself, I don't see the point of someone like a Ten Hag, same as I didn't see the point of someone like a Jose, of not winning the league and Champions League and playing bad football. If we're not going to win it, we might as well play nice football. It's just, do you understand where I'm coming from? It's not even about lowering standards. It's just, we don't do either of those things well. It's crazy.
I think become Spurs.
We play football. We spend like City, and we play like Stoke. It don't make sense.
You know what it is. You know what it is. For a project manager like Ten Hag, you have to have everything absolutely bang on behind the scenes, where he has an idea of a style of play that he wants to play. He is able to bring in exactly the players that he wants, and he's given enough time, i.e. 3-4 years, to really sort of change the whole team around. But at United, we don't do any of that. We do everything in halves. We'll give you one player that you want in Onana, but in front of him is nobody able to play the same type of football. We'll give you the 9 that you want, but around them, none of the people that are on the same page. We'll give you a midfield with Mount Casemiro, where there's mad gaps in between them. So realistically, there's no way any manager could do that. We need what we need is actually a short-term. We need just short-term managers, really, because the long-term, we just can't do it. We don't have it in us to do it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And this is the thing. Me and Lee Gunner fight about this a lot. And I know there's a lot of people, a lot of United fans online that speak about you've got to have high standards. Yes, I can have high standards of where I want us to be. But my high standards of where I want us to be as a club, it's not like a monolith. It doesn't mean every element of every sector of Man United I can apply those standards to, because if we don't have the people in charge to achieve those standards, me expecting that to happen is weird, right? So let's just give you an example. If there's an Arsenal fan out there who thinks the manager's crap and his players are crap and they're awful, it makes no sense you're angry when you don't win games. You should only really be angry if you were expecting better, right?
Yeah.
You can't have high expectations of things that you don't rate. So I don't rate how we run as a club. So I can't have the expectation in reality for us to be doing what City are doing, for us to be doing what, the Bayern Munichs of this world and the Real Madrids do, because we're not run like that. However, I'm just at a stage now. This is what United have reduced me to. Just bring in a manager and play nice, or just say to Ten Hag, just play nice football. The problem he has, though, there's no structure to this team. There's no shape to this team. I watch City a lot. I watch everybody's teams a lot. The way they work. Look at Spurs at the moment. They move the ball well. But watch how they get back into shape when they lose possession now. I've said this about Pep all the time. Everyone talks about the tiki-taka and the shapes and the passing. That's not the impressive bit with Pep's teams. It's how hard they work and get back into shape. If you didn't get back into shape that regularly, you'd be susceptible to be attacked. And Ten Hag can't get this group of players to do it. So it's either he doesn't know how to do it, which is weird, or it's a cultural issue at the football club, which is a deeper thing. But for me, it's just, I think he's lost that dressing room now. I do believe those players are not playing for the manager. That's how it looks. And it's felt that way all season, because if you go back for all the games, deep all the problems, midfield being run through, teams always out of shape, nobody's scoring, even our better players are all out of form. All these things going wrong at the same time say one thing to me: they're not playing for the manager. That's all it says. So yeah, I feel horrible feeling this way, but I'm honestly right now, unless he changes it, I'm done with Ten Hag. I don't support him being here anymore.
Okay, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. I have to roll up my sleeves because Sunshine's not going to be the only one flexing today, and I need to flex today because that loss last season at Old Trafford still to this day bun me. So I'm glad we got the result that we wanted. But what I'm hearing from you United fans, you're all over the place. You're all over the place. You say that Ten Hag overachieved last season. So he overachieved last season. You can't hold him to the standard of what you really accomplished last year because he got you some bonus results. You guys are actually, let me just say this. You guys are
just agreeing with you, bro. Sorry.
Oh, respect. You guys are actually not to the level that you accomplished last year. So have that perspective as Ten Hag is managing this team. You're riddled with injuries. He's trying to make it work. And for you, and again, for those that forget their past, compromise their future. That's why I got this saying back here. And it's important because it's part of what City's all about. You guys know what it was like before your greatest manager. You guys also know the time that you gave him to make it work. I know he had a great resume coming in beforehand, so you trusted him. But Ten Hag, to a certain degree, should get more than a season or 2 seasons. Correct. If you're really going to try to make this work. Let the man make mistakes. Let the man clear out the dead weight that should be there. But you guys are all over the place. It's funny because I thought you guys were built better than Arsenal fans. But what I'm hearing right now is you wouldn't even sustain a type of hold on. That you wouldn't even sustain.
Let me just interject for a minute. V, let me just interject. I want to ask some questions because I'm not. You may be right, but I want to ask you. I want to dig into what you're saying. So when he keeps playing Rashford, who's out of form, when he wants to sell Scott McTominay, and is now starting him over his £60 million signing in Mason Mount, when he's consistently putting Bruno on the right when he's awful. Although yes, he overachieved last year. Yes, we know we need a manager here. We need to rebuild. We need to do things right. Those types of mistakes for me that's not getting rid of dead wood. That isn't Bruno playing in his natural position of being awful. Those kind of mistakes that he keeps making, and you've got that saying on your screen, I like it. But what about the saying of trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is insanity? That's not quite the same, but you know what I'm alluding to.
I hear you.
Where do you stand on the challenges?
I stand on he's got to fail. You question him 100%. He gets it wrong consistently 3, 4, 5 games, but let the man fail, right? It's already 10 games into this season, and you're like, I'm done with him. And that's okay.
What was it? But V, only Staffy has said Ten Hag out, and Terry said he's lost trust in him. Not me, DZ, and Neji have not even said get him gone. We just said he's in. We just don't know what he's doing. So
Fair.
I get where you're coming from with the United fans thing, but at the same time, people on this stream,
but like I said as well, and when you say we're all over the place, that's going to happen when you get loads of fans on because we've all got different opinions. But what I would say is this, and I do get your challenge, bro, and I think it's a fair one. I've lost faith in him, but I also said 2 things. One, if he turns it round, I'll change my mind. Yeah. As in, I'll believe in him again. Secondly, I've also said I don't think sacking him is going to make us a better team in the long run. I don't think it will fix Man United, but I'm at a point where I just think he's making huge mistakes that are very obvious, and that's nothing to do with having to clear out dead wood. The fact is, he tried to clear out McTominay, now he's starting him. Spent £60 million on Mount, doesn't have a plan for him, as an example. We're not playing in a way that utilises the best of Onana and his passing abilities. We've got a left back on the bench, but we play Lindelof there, who's on his weak foot and he's not very agile. There's all these things that are going on, and you think to yourself, I don't think a manager of his experience should be making these mistakes. They're huge mistakes. It's almost in a working environment. It's like it's if a doctor leaves, if you get an operation and a doctor leaves a scalpel inside of you, he's going to be struck off. It doesn't matter that he saved 1 million lives before. That's gross misconduct. And for me, what he's doing, these decisions he's making, like today, taking off Amrabat and putting McTominay in his position, that is gross negligence as far as I'm concerned. It is malpractice as a manager, and I've lost faith that he is the person to take this team forward. Now, that doesn't mean sack him per se, but I'm looking at these mistakes. He isn't making the changes, and he said he played Johnny Evans over Varane for a tactic. Bruv.
Listen, Terry, playing against City, right? 3-peat treble winners can mess up your brain, can have you overthink. I've seen my manager overcomplicate things. I've seen my manager not make a sub when I'm like,
you're saying this from a privileged position. You're telling people, oh, it's okay to skip a meal. I skip meals sometimes, but you've got a banquet and we're out here on the street starving, bruv. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing. Listen, we are not just saying this because we lost to Man City. This is an accumulation of an entire, you can even say preseason. Because this is a preseason issue that's been stemming through. Easy could even take it further back into parts of last season as well.
Since Newcastle, since we won the Carabao Cup, since we played Newcastle, we have been dire since, and the cracks in this team have been showing since then. So this whole where is all of this coming from? And United fans are mad reactionary. If you watch United game in and game out, as much as me, Terry, KJ, Sunshine, Staffy do, we can see the cracks in all of the performances every game. So it's not just the overreact. And then also my question to you, City fans, is what is the minimum expectation? You say that he overachieved last season, which is correct. Yes, he did. I will give you that. But then you come into a season now where you have played no good football, barring Crystal Palace. You have played 13, 14 games, and none of them have been good. You've lost 7 of them. Over 50% of the games that you've played, you've lost. And the games that you've won, I think 3 of them have been dubious. 1 of them have been 2 90th minute goals, and we've scored 11 goals all season. Where does all of that fall, and how United fans are supposed to react?